All right, so what do we have here? The website states that worldwide, 90% of the 30,000 deaths that occur every week from unsafe water and unhygienic living conditions are of children under 5 years old. Whoa, okay, that's a lot. And then here we have the following statements are all correct interpretations of this statistic, which gives the most complete one. Oh, we're getting good at complete statements. So for this, we want to include the 90%, the 30,000 deaths. Now, we probably should figure out what is 90% of 30,000, because that should go in there. And it looks like that's probably 27,000. Let's just double check. Calculator. 90% of 30,000 is 27,000. Cool. That part's right. Yeah, so 27,000 of these deaths are children under 5 years old. Wow. All right, so let's see. I definitely want 27,000 in there and 30,000. The first one has that. This one has 27,000, but it doesn't reference the 30,000 or the 90%. This one has the 90%, but not the 30,000 or the 27. This just says 90 out of 100, which totally skips the 30,000. Okay, so I'm thinking I don't like the last three. Let's just read this one. And again, your version will probably have those in a different order. 27,000 out of 30,000 deaths that occur every week from unsafe water and unhygienic living conditions are of children under 5 years old. That's the best of these four, I think. It's the most complete. I would like to see the 90% in there somewhere too, but it's not there. So I'm going to say that's it. All right, part B, the website also states almost 1 million people on the planet don't have access to clean drinking water. If there were 7.2 times 10 to the 9th people in the world.
Over there.
Yeah. All right, so almost 1 billion people on the planet don't have access to clean drinking water. Which I'm going to cross that out. And we're told that in 2014, there were 7.2 times 10 to the 9th. My recollection is a billion has 9 zeros in it. So that's saying 7.2 billion. Let's write some things down to go with that. All right, so 7.2 times 10 to the 9th is 7, and then put a comma, put the 2. That counts as one of our 9 places. So then that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so 7.2 billion is what we have here. And they want us to compare that to 1 billion. And they want us to do that as a percent. Approximately what percent of them, the people that didn't have clean drinking water, so we want to take our 1 billion and divide by our 7.2 billion and state it as a percentage. Now, billion divided by billion goes away. So on my calculator, I only care about 1 divided by 7.2. Oops. So whip out a calculator. What is 1 divided by 7.2? Oops. 130. And then we want to convert that to a percentage. So to do that, we just multiply by 100. So I get 13.888888. Let's see the rules on this right here. This one tells me how to round to the nearest 1/10 of a percent. All right, nearest 1/10 of a percent would be that 8 right there. The 8 to the right says round that up. So we would say this is about 13.9%. All right, this one should go better for me since I had rounding rules. Yeehaw. All right, so cost of driving, what we want to do is, again, this is a round trip versus a one-way trip. So compared to last time we did this, right away, let's just double that amount. So I need to know what is 193 times 2, which is going to give me what, 6, double 9, we get 18. It's going to be 368 miles. Because I want the round trip cost. Then we have these different categories of things that cost, like the price of gas. And that's going to go along with how her gas mileage works. So when I consider gas, I'm going to consider that gas costs $3.50 per gallon. And that her vehicle gets 22 miles per gallon, but that has to be flipped to be able to use it. So I need to rewrite that as gallons per mile. So I can get the gallons to cancel out. And the 22 goes with the miles, and the 1 goes with a gallon. So this is going to give me a cost per mile for her gas, right? When I clean that up. And eventually, we're going to multiply that by the number of miles. Now, keep in mind, we got to do that for other stuff too. So we're going to have to do that for the insurance, registration, and taxes. The cost per mile there is $2,000 per 21,600 miles. So I'm going to call it insurance plus other stuff. And that one has a cost of $2,000 per 21,600 miles. And then just keep going through the list. General maintenance, I'm just going to call that maintenance. That has a cost of $40 per 3,000 miles. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm collecting all of the costs per mile, and then I'll apply them. All right, tires, $9.20 for every 50,000 miles. There's a little bit more room. Sorry, I'm cutting off the top. And then last, repairs. That one says about 328 per year if you drive 15,000 miles per year. So we're going to call that one 328 over 15,000 miles. So those are all the costs per mile. I have two choices now. I could just add them all up and then multiply by the miles, or I could multiply each of these by the miles and then add them up. It's going to give the same answer. Somebody pick a method for me. What do you want to do?
Just add them all up.
Add them up, then multiply. Yeah, let's do that. So on the calculator, I'm going to do my best to write that down. And I'm just going to put this on another screen so I can see the numbers. So I'm just going to type it as I wrote it on my screen. So I had, for the gas, that was $3.50 per 22 miles. And then I want to add to that, the next one was 2,000 per 21,600 miles. Maintenance was $40 per 3,000 miles. Tires. Let me finish this and then we'll talk about yours.
This is what I want to look at.
Yeah, divided by where was that one? 50,000 miles. And then the last one was 328 for 15,000 miles. So this is her overall cost per mile based on those quotes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit enter, and then I'm going to take that answer times her total miles for this trip. which we calculated as what, 396, sound right?
380.
386.
Like a-
386. And so I'm getting a total cost of 107 for this trip, $117.84.
Yeah, that's the one that just made my brain numb, dude, because I couldn't quite remember how I did it. Or how you showed us to do it.
Yeah, so what we decided to do on this one is we decided to add up each of these fractions. And then after we added those up, we multiplied that by the 386. And that gives us about $117 and was it 84 cents? Is that right? 84 cents.
Have you do this like the cursor on your calculator, like